Okay, says you are now live. Hey everybody, welcome back to Cryptid and Paranormal Kingdom with Carlito and Tom. I'm glad to see there's some people in the chat already. Hey everybody, I see Steve on there, Hoke Spearman, Steve Riley. Um, how y'all doing tonight, man? Um, I'm glad y'all came to the show. It's gonna be a good one. Let me tell you. We got Chris here, Chris Martin. He's actually already on. He chose not to come on camera for personal reasons, and that's totally fine with me and in my group. So he's here. He's here with us tonight, guys. Only by voice, okay? Hey, Chris, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
Good, 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 buddy. I'm doing real good, man. Hey, we had a very long talk. Well, actually, two long talks, didn't we? This past week.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, we had like a
Yeah,
2 hour long talk.
yeah, two times. I think it was twice that we had that. And
Yep.
it was actually good. And like I was telling you, Chris, man, most of the times it's crazy. And I don't know if a lot of people know this, but like when you talk to somebody like an eyewitness, you know, and you're talking on the phone with them, it seems like they're a lot more comfortable talking about everything with you because it is only by phone. So you get to like gather your thoughts correctly and and all your information and not make sure not to miss anything out, right? Remember I was just telling you that the other day, and a lot of times it's like it's crazy because a lot of times I feel more like overwhelmed with the information on the pre-interviews is what I call them, than the show itself, because a lot of times the show, you know you miss out a couple of things, you know what I mean? So when you
Yeah,
when you speak to someone like that over the phone, it's a lot better, man. Way a lot better. So yeah, so hey
it is. We
everybody,
did discuss a lot of different things.
a lot of different things. We touched a lot of topics, not just cryptid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we came eye to eye with a lot of things, and I'm glad that you're that you understand, and we touched on that, me and you, where we
Yeah.
understand and we
I
relate
was
to a lot
excited
of
that
things.
you understood. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Yes, 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 exactly,
it
bro.
made it easier to talk when, I can
Right,
tell that you understand it.
right, right, exactly. Yes, yes, it is absolutely, man. And well, I want you to tell us how you been, man. Kind of tell us like what's your everyday life been like, recently, bro. Can you do that, Chris?
Oh, yeah. Uh,
Okay, cool, man.
I've been good for the most part. I did have a bit of a nasty spill off of my roof while I was fixing
Yes,
some shingles.
right.
And I ended up I broke my leg in two places, and I cracked a couple ribs, and I fractured my arm. But that's been a couple months ago, and I've healed up pretty well considering.
Yes. Yes, yes. You told me like how bad, can you describe how bad it was, man? Because I know you told me and I'm like, wow, dude, that's crazy. Because you were up there
Oh, it was
fixing some
terrible. It was,
shingles. Yeah, tell
but
us all about it, man.
yeah, and like I had this safety thing on, and before
Hmm.
I even got on the roof, I pulled on it, and it was fine. But when I was up there on the roof, I grabbed the thing of shingles and I sat them down, and I went to lean back, and the thing just like came undone, like the little metal latch that held me onto it just
Hmm.
came off, and I just fell straight backwards, right off the roof. And then I landed on a pile of like cement bricks,
Hmm.
and that's what hurt the most because I landed on it like right on my leg and on my back almost,
Well, yeah,
and it knocked the
that
wind out of me like
yeah,
terribly. I couldn't breathe at all, and I was just laying
yes.
there, and like I kept trying to move, and I kept feeling sharp shooting pains, and I was home alone. There was nobody there. I had my phone in my pocket, thank God though, and well, like I said, I've had you know an encounter around my house. So
Right.
that thought popped in my head of, got got like, animals can sense when something's injured or something, and they'll take advantage of it.
Yeah, you
And
would
that
have been
thought
the
popped in my
easy
head,
mark.
and
Yeah.
yep, I had to immediately like try to just force that thought out of my head though.
Right, exactly. Yeah, you don't want you
There
don't
was,
want to draw
it's
them
just
in. Like I was telling you, you don't want to draw them in
yeah,
just by
yep,
thinking about it, right? Yeah,
yep,
yeah, absolutely, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
By like, and I just tried my best to stay calm, but it hurt. The pain was bad.
right,
And then for
yeah,
like the next month or two afterwards, it was just complete pain because like I didn't want to take painkillers and stuff,
right,
especially
yeah,
the amount they wanted to give me. I was like, I'll just go without it because I've, I've personally seen what those things can do to people, and I just don't like them. So I kind of just suffered through it. But
right,
now with this cast on, and they gave me this like big rubber boot thing, I can kind of walk a little bit now. So, and I
yeah,
think what bugged me the most about it was the fact that I couldn't go out and walk and do stuff because I'm never in my house. I'm always out doing something.
yeah, yeah. That's what you told me. It's hard for you. How long were you? Like what? Like a month, right? Or was it 2 months?
It was almost like a month and a half. I just couldn't get out of bed.
Right,
I'm just now starting to be able to like get up and move around, but I tend to push myself a little too far, so I got to restrain myself from going on long hikes and stuff
mm-hmm. Right, right.
because I
Well,
quite often walk around my property. You want me to talk about like where I live and
well, yeah. But I was gonna say about your accident, man. I'm so sorry to hear that, man. That you went through that, and I remember you saying you fell like 15 feet right from the house.
yeah,
Yeah, and then you landed
yep,
like right on a pile of concrete blocks, as to which that didn't help, any
yeah,
either. So yeah, that's man,
no,
that's so
not at all.
unfortunate. That was so
And
unfortunate,
like
man.
the concrete blocks with like the two holes in them, like uh, cinder blocks.
Hmm.
That's what I landed on, and it was a
Yeah.
stack of probably like 10 of them, and like a half a wall shape.
Right. Right. Yeah, man. That's yeah. I can imagine landing on a stack of concrete blocks like that, dude. 15 feet up in the. I mean, because I do remodeling. I know what that's like. You know what I mean? Working off the rooftops of
Yeah,
houses and stuff. Yeah, that's very dangerous. And that was unfortunate of you because you had your safety latch thing off, but the clip actually broke off. Right. That's why you fell. That's crazy.
yeah.
That's
It was
crazy,
like
man.
the part to where you kind of like you like winch it and it like tightens up, and it's
Yeah.
like a harness. I
Right.
had it from one of the old like an old job I did where we were on roofs and stuff. So like I trusted it. I've used it before,
Right.
but the thing just the two metal parts with like the thing, it's like a metal pole that goes through it. The little metal rod came out and it just fell apart.
Right. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, man. That's
And
oh man. That was
it was as soon as I leaned back, it was terrifying.
yeah.
I
I
remember
bet it.
the fall through the air was like I don't even know if I had a thought going through my head. It was just surprise.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean I fell before, but not that high. But I felt like maybe like 6 feet or something, and that was bad. So I can imagine 15 feet, brother. I mean that's crazy, man. But okay, yeah, man.
Yeah,
I was wanting to see if maybe we can start. I see we got people joining in the chat now, so I was wanting to see if we could start by maybe you giving us a little bio on yourself, brother. You know how where you live and where you're from,
yeah,
and how you started and all that. Thank you, Chris.
yeah. You cut out there at the end for a second, but
Okay.
I grew up in West Virginia
Mm-hmm.
pretty much my whole life. So like I've always been used to the mountains, and my I'll get into this later on too. But like on my dad's side of the family, we also used to go camping and stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And well, it was actually my grandpa that left me this property, and I originally thought he sold it all until he passed away. So it was a bit of a surprise. But the house that was sitting on the property was kind of sitting vacant for like 2 years.
Right, right. Yes, 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 yes. Hey, I don't know, Chris. I don't know. I think you cut off, brother. I think your voice kind of faded a little bit there at the end, man. You might want to check your phone.
Hey, you
Okay.
still there?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'm here, Chris. Go ahead, brother.
All right. Yeah, it popped up and said something went wrong, so I reconnected
Okay.
real quick.
Okay. Cool. Cool. Cool.
But yeah, my grandpa left me the property,
How?
and the house sat vacant for a couple years because
Mm-hmm.
what was that?
I was gonna ask you, Chris, on the bio on yourself, like where you're from, and you said West Virginia, right? And like, how old are you? Are you married? Do you have kids?
I'm 30, and I have one daughter. She's 4. Her
Oh,
name's
cool.
Mabel.
Okay.
She's adorable.
I bet.
And yeah, I grew up in West Virginia.
Okay.
Uh, like I said, the main things I like to do is just kind of like hike around and go to different places. I love visiting different places. Like one of my favorite places I just went recently was New River Gorge.
Hmm.
And it was beautiful out there.
Nice. Cool. Cool. Cool.
Yeah,
So,
and they
Chris,
had a big trail there you can walk.
right? So, Chris, I remember you were telling me that you've pretty much like your whole life you like camping, going out camping, right? Solo camping at that, right?
Yeah,
Why is
solo
that?
camping.
Why
That's
do you like that? Why you like doing that so much? Can you explain that to us?
because to me, it's you know some people get their thrills by jumping out of planes and stuff. Like I don't like to do anything like that, but solo
Right,
camping to me, it's a freeing experience. You know what I mean? It gets you away from everything, it gives you time to think to yourself, and
right,
uh, the fact you got to be like knowledgeable about it and know what to do, especially because if you're out, like I said, I go 60 miles out into the middle of the woods, like there's nobody around,
right,
and
right.
just being that deep in nature, it can change your perspective on things. Like you can learn how big the world really is. Like there's so much forest that haven't been walked through in hundreds of years. It's to me, it's a freeing experience.
Mm-hmm. Right,
And then of course, you see wildlife and everything all the time, stuff you wouldn't get to see if you lived in a city or even if you went to a public campground.
right, right. Exactly.
It's just it can be scary, but over the years I've gotten over that whole aspect of things. Like hearing something come into your camp, that can be a normal thing, like a
Right,
raccoon or something. They
right,
always venture into it. But like I
right.
said, I've done it for years, since I was about 18,
Okay.
maybe younger than that, because my my uncle's the one who actually first took me like real deep into the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And when I think I was like 16, maybe 15 when that first happened.
Mm-hmm.
And it was terrifying at first, but you have so much fun because there's just, to me, like even setting up camp and getting everything ready and then sitting out all night long and just listening to stuff. And,
Right,
of course, the walk there, you see all kinds of beautiful stuff. And it's just, to me, it's
right.
exhilarating.
I remember you were saying that, like when you go out there hiking, you go like deep in the woods, right? Because I remember you saying something about that you don't really go to like, like tourist places, like like where a lot of people go out camping, in an area where there's many campers out there. You like to go out there where it's nobody out there, right? Way deep in the woods.
Yeah.
Right,
Like I go where there's nobody.
right, right. So you just want to relax and enjoy nature all to yourself with nobody
Yeah.
there to bother you.
And then there's a sense of danger about it too, because you never know. Like
Right.
I was never a believer in Bigfoot or anything like that. Like I said, I camped for years and never seen anything. Never had anything scare me. Like bears are scary, yeah, but most of the time they don't want anything to do with you.
Right. Now, let me ask you this, Chris. Did you know about Bigfoot? Did you know about Dogman and stuff like that when you first started, like when you were 15? Did you know about anything of that or no? Or you just heard stories and really just kind
No,
of
I didn't know about
blew them
any of
off?
that.
No? Okay. Okay, cool, cool.
Like I didn't know about Bigfoot or nothing like that. I didn't learn about that until honestly, like I started hearing about it when I was older, but it's just stuff you'd normally hear. Like I seen old TV shows like what is that? The show with Bigfoot,
Was it
the
Finding
Harrisons
Bigfoot?
or something like that. I can't remember.
Oh, you talking about Harry and the
No, it was
Hendersons?
like an old family show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you're talking about Harry and the Hendersons, I think.
Yeah, Harry and the
Right.
Hendersons. That one.
Yeah.
That was the only exposure I've had to like Bigfoot.
hmm Right, right, right. Okay,
Or
so that
anything of cryptid nature.
right, so you weren't scared of anything out there in the woods, basically, right? Because you first you didn't know about a lot of this stuff, and the like the stories and stuff. You did really didn't believe, right? Kind of just brushed them off.
Yeah, no, I didn't
Right,
believe it at all.
right. Okay,
Like I never really would call people a liar. Like I
right,
can't say what anyone's seen, but me personally, I just did not believe it.
right. Now, did you ever run into anybody or family or friends or anything that would talk about Bigfoot and those type of cryptids, and you were just like, man, that's a bunch of BS or anything like that? Did you ever?
Uh, Not really, but my grandpa, he like I know he knew about these things, but because
Mhm.
like even when I was little, there was like a little creek out back the house, and I used to play in it all the time. But he would not let me stay out after dark and stuff, and he was just he was almost like borderline paranoid, Jesus,
Mhm.
about going outside at night. He used to lock his house up all the time, and
Mhm.
I never thought anything of it as a kid, but now that I think back about it, and I didn't really have much of a chance to talk to him before he died about this stuff.
Okay. How long ago did he die or pass away?
Uh, I want to say 7 months ago.
7 months ago. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. So, can you? I'm pretty sure everybody's waiting on the story now. So, can you tell us now, um, and explain, with every detail that you can remember on your first encounter, bro, and what year that was, or how long ago that was?
Yep, that was my first encounter.
Mm-hmm.
Was It was 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So is it 2022? I want to. Yeah, it was about 10 years ago. I was like, I think I just turned 20, or I was about to turn 20,
Right.
and
Okay.
my my dad recently passed away, and like I said, on my dad's side of the family, we always went camping and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and like did trips like that. So I wanted to go. I went to my grandpa's property,
Mm-hmm.
and I went way back in the woods to go camping, to where we used to, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Not we didn't go as far, but I decided to go way back out there. Like I said, that was about 60 miles back, and I left real early in the morning. I left at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I drove a part of the way there, and then I walked the rest. But
Wow.
I just wanted to do it for like nostalgia.
Right. Exactly.
And where I went to, I found this like little open patch, like there was woods everywhere. It was thick, and
Mm-hmm.
then there was this little open patch at the base of this mountain, like where the mountain came down, and then there was kind of like a straight, like a 90-degree vertical incline right behind it. So that's where I decided to set up my camp and everything. And I got my tent and everything, and I chopped some firewood, and the day pretty much passed, and it was about to hit close to nighttime.
Hmm.
So the sun was starting to go down. But in West Virginia, when you're in the woods, especially deep in the woods, and the sun goes down, it gets dark really quick. It can go from you can still see stuff to it's just pitch black,
Really?
especially if
Wow.
it's not like a full moon or something.
Hmm.
And well, I decided before it got too dark that I was gonna walk up the mountain to get to the top and see if I could see anything, take a picture or whatever.
Hmm.
And I did that. And then when I decided to come back down, it was hitting probably like 7, 8. And at this time, that's when it started to get dark. And I was only gone for like an hour,
Hmm.
maybe 2. And I started heading back to my camp. And the closer I got, the more I noticed I was hearing stuff like sounded like someone was going through my campsite. Like I could hear like footsteps, and I could hear stuff being moved around. It sounded like somebody, like when I would walk through the woods, I'd always have like this little trash bag, and if I saw trash, I'd pick it up
Okay.
just so it wasn't. And I could hear the trash bag that was like it was being tossed around almost,
Hmm.
just trash being moved. And I was like, maybe it's a raccoon or something. I didn't know. And
Hmm.
I couldn't see my campsite from the direction I was heading. Because, like I said, it was all trees and bushes right there.
Right.
And as I started to get through the clearing, I noticed what I thought was just a really big dog. And I took a few more steps, and it had its head, it was kind of on all fours, and it had its head tilting up like it was smelling the air. And the first
Wow.
thing I noticed about it was it was big, like big, big, and
Hmm.
its legs were really long, but I could only see the front part of it. I was seeing it kind of from like a profile view, and I didn't
Hmm.
want to startle it, like scare it. So I kind of just yelled out to it. I was like, "Hey!" It was real gently, and it immediately turned and looked at me. And then that's when I started to notice, like, first of all, I was noticing how beautiful it was. It was a light gray, and it had white at like the base of its tail,
Hmm.
and it had fur all over its neck and a little bit on top of its head. Its ears were, I want to say, they just looked like triangular, like dog ears,
Hmm.
And its head was huge. I could see the muscles. Like, if you ever seen a big pit bull and you can see the muscles in its head,
Hmm.
you could see the muscles.
Right.
And it turned and looked at me, and we just stared at each other for a second. And at this point, I'm like maybe 20 feet away from it, and it turned towards me, and it took like a step or two on all fours, and I was just kind of paralyzed. Like, I was just staring at it. I didn't know what to do,
Hmm.
and I had my bear spray, and it took a couple more steps, and then that's when I kind of like grabbed my bear spray, but I didn't pull it out or anything.
Hmm.
And then it was, I noticed it kept looking like side to side, like it was checking its surroundings,
Right.
and it just kept looking back at me, but I didn't feel threatened at all by it. I kind of felt like I was just as curious as it was.
Mm.
And then it ended up standing up. And that's when I realized, like, this is not a big dog. I mean, it is a big dog, but it's not
Yeah.
a dog.
Right.
And when it stood up, I'm about 5'8", 5'7", I'd say.
Hmm.
And it was a good foot taller than I was. And it took a few more steps to me. And when I say it takes a couple steps, it covers like 2 feet in one step. Like, it takes big steps, even though it's not trying to.
Wow.
And that's when I pulled the bear spray out,
Mm.
and it was just staring at me. It was just staring at me, and its eyes were gorgeous. It was I want to say like a dark shade of yellow almost, and I could I could just make out its teeth as it was standing there, and I'm trying to think back to the encounter as it happened. Could just make out the tip of its teeth almost, but its teeth were long. I could tell.
Mm-hmm.
And as it approached me a little bit more, and then that's when I started to get like freaked out.
Mm-hmm.
And it stood up a little bit straighter, made itself even taller. And at this point, it was probably 10 feet away from me. And that's when I popped a little tab on the bear spray, and I said to myself, you know, like if it moves one more time, I'm going to spray this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it did. It ended up taking another step towards me.
Mm-hmm.
But I also want to say, like, I didn't really get a look at its feet because I was staring at its head like the whole time.
Right.
But I noticed its hands were. It kind of had its hands like in a fist almost.
Right.
So I couldn't really make out too much details on that yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up spraying the bear spray, and it let out like a yelp. And when
Okay.
it did, it was so loud. It's like I could feel my eardrums vibrate, and I could feel it in my
Wow.
body, like in my bones. It like made my whole body vibrate,
Right.
and it was
You.
just a quick yelp. But when it did,
Mm-hmm.
what's that?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, like when it yelped, its mouth opened up, and its mouth opened up so wide that it could have fit my whole head in its mouth, like easily. Like it could have
Wow.
bit down to my neck. Like its mouth opened wide, and then it turned around and it started running. And it was so fast, like it was
Mm-hmm.
just gone, like in a blink. But as it went straight up that vertical incline, like straight up of it, and it grabbed a hold of this tree. And that's when I saw its hand. Like that's when I noticed it had like almost like a hand as it grabbed the tree, and
Mm-hmm.
it pulled itself up that hill in just one fluid, big motion. And then it was pretty much gone. And then that's when like I started to get scared because
Mm-hmm.
if I wanted to leave, I was going to have to walk miles out of this woods, and it was definitely going to be dark because it was almost already dark.
Right.
Like another hour, and it was going to be pitch black. So I decided to just build up a really big fire because I didn't want to be walking in the pitch dark, with this
Exactly.
thing around. I don't know. It was just, I felt like that was a better chance of me getting attacked than, I just built up a really big fire, gathered a bunch of firewood. Like when I thought I had enough firewood, I gathered twice as much.
Right.
And I kind of just stayed there the night. And I would hear things off and on, like, little branches snapping and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I've listened to some encounters, and, I've heard people say that it got dead quiet and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, like my brain was going so much, and I was just so surprised at this thing that I didn't even notice that if the noises stopped, like I
Right.
was just focused on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And but at the same time, I didn't feel threatened by it really until it started getting closer, and then it started freaking me out. I
Mm-hmm.
was more freaked out than I was scared,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm glad the bear spray worked. I don't know if it had any real effect on it, but it didn't like it. That's for sure.
Right. Right. Wow.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so I stayed there the whole night, and I didn't sleep at all.
Yeah.
I just kind of
That's.
sat right by the fire with my back to the fire, staring in the woods
Mm-hmm.
the whole night. And then as soon as the sun started coming up, I gathered some stuff. I left some stuff there too, and then I just left. I got out as fast as I could.
Wow.
And
Yeah.
then after that, like when I think about the encounter, that's like what started so much bad stuff for me. Like I started having PTSD, and I've already had insomnia, but I started having night terrors about these things.
Right. Right.
And it was to the point to where like I was getting depressed. I wouldn't leave my house. My anxiety was through the roof.
Wow.
Like I have a dog, and even when my own dog would bark, it
Mm-hmm.
would freak me out. I would jump. Like if
Yeah.
like someone would come and knock on the door, my dog would bark. I'd about to have a heart attack every time.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to go to a therapist, and I talked to the therapist about it, but they told me this thing about, it was pretty much myself making stuff up, like my brain imagined it. It was probably just a deer.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I didn't like that because it made me feel like they were saying I was crazy.
Right.
But at the same time, like, what is a psychiatrist supposed to think about this, especially if they don't have any belief in it?
Right.
They go to school to, learn about practical, stuff. Like, there's plenty of mental illnesses that make people see stuff. So I started doubting myself and, thinking that maybe, I was just seeing stuff, but it was so clear and just, I was so close to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when my fascination, like, with researching this stuff started. And that was probably a few years afterwards that I really started researching it.
Right.
And the first person I told was my friend. His name's Dalton. And me and him would go camping together. And after 2 years of me just not wanting to go camping at all, I guess he started getting a little concerned and started pressuring me. He was like, dude, what's wrong?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you never not want to go. And I ended up telling him, and I mean, I know he didn't know what to think about it, but he believed me,
Mm-hmm.
which made me feel better. And that's, and, it continued for years. The nightmares, I still have nightmares sometimes.
I bet. Yeah, I do, man. I bet. Chris, I would like to start off with one question for you, man. Everybody's listening, of course,
Yeah,
and I asked them to get their questions ready for you about this encounter because you have another encounter to tell us. Um,
yeah.
this encounter happened 10 years ago, guys, and some of you may not know, but Chris was on he was on Vic Cundiff's show, Dogman Encounters Radio, and it was
Yep.
episode. What episode was that, Chris? 343, was it?
Uh, I want to say 344.
Yeah, I think it was 343, bro, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it was 343,
I know it
and
was around there.
yeah, and he left a lot of stuff out on Vic's show because he was telling me himself. He was
Oh
like,
yeah,
man, you know what? I left a lot of stuff out. So so
yeah.
yeah, that's why we want to. That's why, Chris. That's why I want to. Everybody ask you questions and you answer them for them. Whatever
Oh yeah.
information that they might want to. Yeah, that they
See,
might
that'd be
want to.
great, just in case I'm not thinking about something. They
Right.
can
They can bring it back.
ask me.
Yeah, and they can remind you
Yeah.
basically. Yeah. So, okay, so my first question is, how far did you let that dog man get close to you, or actually, how close did you let him get to you before you uh, reacted and sprayed the bear spray at him? How far was that? How far
It,
was he
uh,
from you?
it was at least 10 feet,
Wow,
10 feet, if not closer.
wow, man, that's crazy, dude. I don't think I would have.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't know why you let it get
Well,
that close, but I mean I don't think I would
I
have.
don't. I don't either because bear spray can be effective up to 20 feet away.
Yeah,
And I was just in a state of shock. Honestly, I didn't know what was going through my brain because I couldn't process what was standing in front of me.
right,
It was unreal. I couldn't understand it. So I just kept staring at it.
right. So you were kind of like
And
in a trance, right? Like amazed, or like
yeah, yeah,
you couldn't believe what you were
just
seeing. That's
stunned.
why stunned. Yeah,
Yeah,
there you
I was
go.
flabbergasted. But
Right,
also, I'm experienced in the woods too, and I know that you don't run from an
right.
animal, especially a predator. You don't
Yes.
take off sprinting.
Right. Yeah. You don't turn your back on a
And
predator, basically.
no, and I've
But.
had so many encounters with stuff. Like I've come face
Hmm.
to face with a mountain lion, and it's the same thing. You don't really back down. You just walk back slowly. But I realized because there was times I took a couple steps backwards, but every time this thing would take a step forward, it covered so much ground in one step.
Yes, yes, yes. That's what you were telling me. Like each step for him was like what, like 2, 3 feet for us, right? You were saying
Yeah, yeah,
that's
easily.
crazy. Yeah.
I mean, like
So
it,
like in
every
two
step it
steps he
took, it
could have
just got so much closer.
exactly. That's what I was gonna say. I think like in two steps he
Yeah,
could have covered 6, 7 feet, bro. You know what I mean? That's crazy.
yeah. I think, and after seeing it run away and go up that hill, it could have
Hmm.
caught me before I even blinked. Like that's how fast it was.
Right. Right.
Like if it
Right.
wanted to just charge at me and get me, there's no way I could have pulled that bear spray out. I don't
Right.
think it knew what the bear spray was, to be honest, because it
Hmm.
didn't react to it at all.
Right. Right. Yeah. I don't know. He didn't know because if it would have might have been a gun, he might have knew what that was. But the bear spray, I'm pretty sure he didn't know that little bottle.
Yeah,
So he was just kind of like, I guess he was kind of like not sizing you up, but he was just like waiting to see what you were gonna do. You know what I mean? Before it
yeah.
reacted
I think it was
and did
stunned the
whatever
fact
it
that
was
I,
gonna do. Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
But at the same time, it was watching its surroundings. You know what I mean? It kept looking side to side, and it
Hmm.
wasn't just focused on me. Really, it was looking around it. Like I didn't know if it was looking for more of like me, more humans.
Hmm.
It was probably surprised to see somebody out that far.
Right. Right. Yeah. Because yeah, exactly. Because you like I
Yep.
want to repeat this because some people maybe weren't here 10, 15 minutes ago when we covered that, but Chris likes to go way deep in the woods. We're talking 60 miles
Yeah.
into the woods where there's nothing around, no stores,
The
no
farthest
nothing.
I've gone, like
Hmm.
into a remote area, is like
Hmm.
100 and some miles.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow. Let me ask you this too, Chris. This is another question that I remember I wanted to ask you. How far did you park your car from where you camped at? How far was that? You know what I mean?
Oh, that was at least 40, 50 miles away
Phew,
because it went from, I drove probably 10 miles down this, just like, it's not even a dirt road. All you see is just two tire tracks going through the woods. You know what I mean?
wow,
And
yeah.
I was driving a little Ford Focus, had some of my equipment in the back. Like it was so tight, the trees were hitting the car and stuff as I was driving through.
Hmm.
I only knew about the path because of my grandpa. And see, we would camp, like my dad and stuff, we would camp right at the end of that track. We would never go any farther than that. But I was curious. I wanted to see what was farther out because my grandpa had like 125 acres, so I was
Yeah,
curious. I wanted
yeah.
to know what was all out there.
Hmm.
Like I've
Wow.
been there since I was 6 years old. Like I never been past that point.
Right, and that was the I remember on Vic show you I remember you describing like that little open area was that something your family made, right? They cleared that area and they had like a camper and they had like kind of like barbecue pits around there and stuff like that where y'all used to hang out, right? When you were little, correct?
Yeah, that was like at the end of that trail. I went even
Right,
farther than that. Like at
right.
the end of that trail, that's where we had our family campsite at.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow.
And then
Okay.
I went way back, and then I saw that clearing, and I was like, "Oh, this is perfect." I even thought about, setting another campsite out up back there, because it was just perfect the way it was open and spread out.
Right. Right, exactly. Hey, I got a question for you from Diana Rodriguez. She says, Chris, after you thought better about the encounter, I mean much later after it happened, what do you think the Dogman intentions were?
Uh, that's the thing. I still think about that to this day because, like, I can't know for sure. But personally, I want to say that it was surprised to see me, and it was just curious as to why I was there, and it came out to check me out. And then when I didn't run from it, I think it was a little shock there too, because I'm sure most people would just take off running from this thing, but
Hmm.
I never believed in stuff like that. So when this thing stood up, my brain shut off. I was just in amazement.
Hmm.
It
Right.
went from, oh, this is a big dog to this is not a dog. Like, I mean, it looks like a dog, but it is definitely not a dog.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly, exactly.
And I don't think its intentions were bad because, like, when I talk about my second encounter, which is
Hmm.
completely different,
Right.
that's
Yes. Yeah, that's
why I
completely
don't think the
different.
first encounter was bad. I don't.
Right.
think it was
Yeah.
there to hunt me.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Yeah, and it'll make more sense after we you talk about this second encounter, about the first encounter. I know. So, if anybody has any questions about this encounter, which was 10 years ago, and I know Abe. Hey, brother Abe, he just came in. He's got a question. He says, "Did it growl at you, or seen its teeth or eyes?"
I seen its eyes perfect. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
just staring at me. And I could see some mouth movements,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not like it snarled at me. It didn't make a noise until I sprayed the bear spray at it. Besides its breathing. So I'm glad you say something because I could hear it breathing the whole
Mm-hmm.
time. Every breath it took.
Right. Okay. Now, Chris, this is a like a very popular question from a lot of people. Did it have any like type of smell? Did you smell anything when you ran into this? Because that's what it is. You ran into it
Uh
by accident.
yeah, I mean I couldn't really tell. I wasn't really focused on that. Like I said, I didn't even know if noise stopped. Like I was focused on it, but
Hmm.
at the same time I don't remember hearing anything else besides it breathing.
Right.
But also, I do remember afterwards, there was like a musty smell in the air, kind of like wet dog. But,
Hmm. Okay.
and for this thing being, upright and stuff, it was amazingly like well groomed. Like it didn't look filthy, but it looked beautiful to me because just the shade of color. Like I said, it was a light gray and it had some white on its stomach
Right. Yeah.
and
It
its
had.
tail.
Okay. So did it have any black at all, or just gray and white?
Yeah. And its eyes, like I said, were like a deep shade of yellow.
Mm, okay. Okay. Awesome. Cool. Cool. Cool.
What and when it opened its mouth when I
Mhm.
sprayed it, that's when I could tell how big its teeth were, and just the fact that its jaw opened so wide was amazing.
Right. I remember talking to you the other day, and I asked you as a reference. I said, "Did it open its mouth like really wide, like maybe 90 degrees, at least 90 degrees, because that's very wide for any canine." Um, and
Yeah, I
actually,
mean, it might not have been that far, but it was wide,
it
like
was wide,
close to that.
more than normal, right? Is what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
way
say.
beyond normal.
Okay, so and that's the reference I used. Remember Tasmanian tiger, which is a thylacine.
Yeah,
They were known
how
to
they can.
yeah, they were known to open their mouth like really
Yep.
big, like
And
almost 90 degrees. Yeah,
after you told me that, I pictured it,
right, right. So that's way no
and
more than
it
normal.
was kind of the same thing, the way it opened its mouth.
Right, right. Yeah, man, that's that's crazy. You
Mm-hmm.
mentioned the head was really big. How big in proportion to the body do you think it was?
Uh, um, I want to say this. It looked kind of slender, like its
Hmm.
body and stuff.
Hmm.
Its upper body was more bulky, and then its head. It had so much fur around its neck that I couldn't really tell if its head was bigger than its neck. You know what I mean? But
Right,
its head was definitely a little bit unproportionate for its body. But at the same time, it had hair around it too. So, but I could see its jaws is what caught my attention. Like it was so big, you could see the
right.
muscles in it,
Hmm.
and you could see the muscles at the top of the shoulders too. You could see them as it moved. I could see the muscles under the fur, like the fur itself moving along with the muscles.
Hey, Chris. Let me ask you this: did it have some type of like mane? You know how a lot of people describe Dogman having like manes around their neck. You know, kind of like a lion, whatever. Did it have anything like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It was
that's
almost
the fur.
like that. The fur around its neck was definitely manish, and it
Hmm.
tapered down into its chest and down its back. Because I got a good look at its back when it turned around, and that's when I
Hmm.
noticed it had like white kind of at its tail too.
Right. Right, exactly.
It
Um,
started from like the top of its neck. That's where like the mane started, and as it went down its body, it got shorter and shorter.
Okay, okay. So kind of like maybe like a V shape where it gets shorter going down its body.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I didn't see any male parts in it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because I did look at its stomach, and that's how I could notice it. It looked kind of skinny around
Oh,
its
okay.
waist.
So kind of slim, kind of thin. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you for that. And what was I going to ask? I was going to ask a good question. Well, I have a question here actually from Bama BF. She says, what shape were the pupils? Did you get a chance to see its pupils?
uh, from what I could tell, they looked round. I could see the yellow in its eyes. I didn't see it like a slit or anything. To
Hmm.
me, they looked round.
Okay.
Its pupils were tiny compared to the rest of its eyeball, in my opinion.
Wow. Okay. Okay. That's a new one. That's a new one because
And
normally people say their eyes are like huge and yeah.
yeah,
What
well,
were
I
you
mean, its
saying,
eyes
Chris?
were huge, but like its pupils itself
Right. Right. Okay.
were smaller, but its eyes were big, and I could see it blink too.
Oh, wow. Okay. I have
But
another
the whole time,
question.
I only noticed it blink like once or twice. Yeah.
Once or twice. Cool. I have another question from my buddy Shane at West Coast Dogman Project. He says, "Was Chris a believer of Dogman before his first encounter?
What was it?
Was
Oh
Chris a believer of Dogman
no,
before his
I was
first
not a
encounter?"
believer before my. I was not a believer. I didn't even know about Dogmen. I
Right.
never even heard of them. Of course, I've heard of werewolves and stuff, but
Right. Yeah.
to me, that was all just stories.
Right. 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 So when was the first time
They
you
say
heard
I didn't
about
believe in Bigfoot either.
right? So when was the first time you heard about Dogman?
It was after my encounter. When I started researching stuff a couple years later, I I found a legend over something in Spain. It was
Hmm.
about this like black dog with red eyes and stuff, and then that led me to this thing about dogmen, and then I ended up finding Vic's channel, and I started listening to those encounters and stuff.
Okay. Oh, okay, cool. So let me ask you this: how did you work up the courage to go on Vic's channel?
Uh, I started I started confiding in
Hmm.
some family, some friends and stuff, and then when I found Vic's channel,
Hmm.
I was like, oh, that might be nice to go on there and just talk about it, and then I also started to kind of feel the responsibility to actually speak up because if these things are actually out there, which I personally know they are, it's
Right.
like if they're out there, then people should know about them, because these
Yes.
things are terrifying.
Absolutely.
There's no chance against going against one of these things,
Right. Right. Exactly. And yeah, man. I mean, that's
and then
that's. Hmm. Go ahead. Go ahead, Chris.
I also found I also found the like missing 411 and stuff like that,
Hmm.
and
Right.
that was someone recommended me look that up, and that was interesting.
Right. Okay.
So it started making me think, I should just tell my story just for the simple fact of it might help somebody else out.
Exactly. Exactly. Yes. And
It's
that's what
like
it's
I
all.
recommend going,
Hmm.
deep woods camping,
Hmm.
but at the same time, you should research the area you're in. I never did that. I
Yes.
would never look up the area that I went to, and now I do if I, go camping and stuff. I look up
Yes.
missing persons reports and stuff like that.
Right. Right. And you know what? I was going to tell you, Chris, that you mentioned something like a key sentence that you just mentioned right now, that you wanted to put it out there to see if you can help other people, you know, about encountering these things out in the woods, right? And you know what?
Yeah,
That's our major concern or major accomplishment is helping other people. That's why we do the shows we do. You know what I mean? Like me, Tom,
yeah,
from
and
North. Yeah,
that's what made me go on Vic's show is
right,
people
right,
who like you haven't even had an encounter with one, but
hmm,
yet you're out there spreading the word. I
exactly.
have seen these things face to face, and I've been too
Yes,
scared to talk about it. Like if I can make someone be more cautious and believe that these things are out there, then
right,
I feel
exactly,
better about it.
exactly,
It's
exactly.
helped
And
with my PTSD a
yes,
lot.
exactly, and that's what I was saying. That's why we make these shows, like me, my buddy Tom, B Moss, Shane from West Coast Dogman Project, and a bunch of other of our friends, crypto friends. That's why we do it because we want to spread the word and the awareness, and try to help people, that's maybe never had an encounter on what to do and what not to do. You know what I mean? So it all goes hand in hand, and we're all
Yeah.
like a family, on this. I have more questions for you. Let me see. Steve Riley says, "Was the woods silent when you had your encounter?"
Was the woods silent?
Yes.
Uh, I want to say like I said, I wasn't really focused on that, but
Hmm.
at the same time, I want to say yes because the only thing I could hear was its breathing, and I could hear when it would take a step towards me and stuff. But I was focused on it, so I didn't notice if the crickets stopped and stuff because it was getting dark,
Right.
and I know there was crickets and stuff going,
Okay. Okay.
but
So
during the encounter, I don't know.
right. So you really didn't notice it, right? If it went silent or not.
No,
Right. Okay. Okay.
nope.
I got another question from B Moss at Crypto Normal Encounters. She says, "How tall does he think it was?" I remember you mentioning something around
Um,
7 foot, right? Or
I want to say probably
eight,
6.5, 7, because
six
like
and a
I'm
half.
5'7",
Mm-hmm.
and it was easily a foot taller than I was, and then and it was still a little crouched over. At one point, it did straighten itself up, and
Right.
it was a couple inches taller. So
So I think it might
I
have
want to
been
say
between
six
seven
and a
and
half.
8. I mean, if it stood up completely, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Because like you
yeah.
said, it was
I think
hunched,
if it straightened
hunched
itself
over.
completely up, it was probably massive. But yeah, it
Yeah.
was a little hunched.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Cool. I have another follow up question from B Moss. Did it give off an evil presence?
No, not this one. Uh, I didn't get any sense of foreboding or ill will at all. I was just stunned, just staring at it.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't feel like I was in danger until it started getting closer, and then I started getting nervous and anxious and like freaked out
Right.
because
Right.
it didn't just
Okay.
turn around and walk away. It kept coming towards me, and I let
Right.
it get 10 feet close to me. Yeah,
Right.
like I said, the way it was taking its steps, it could have made it to me so easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. Well, I think that covers all the questions. B Moss was asking if you had set the color of it. Yeah, and we answered her. It was gray with a little bit of white, right? Like somewhere down here below its chest.
Yeah, on its like lower stomach was white, and its body was like a light gray,
Mm, okay. All right.
and then on
Thank
its
you.
back, kind of towards its tail, it had white too.
Wow. Wow. That's a pretty color, man. Actually.
Like yeah, it was gorgeous. It really was. Like
Yeah.
when I the more I think back about it, after years, like after the encounter, I did not think this thing was beautiful. I thought it was
Right.
uh
Right. Back
terrifying,
then, yeah, back
like
then you had no clue or anything, yeah, and you were just like, no, that was terrifying. But
yeah,
now it all makes a lot more sense right now that you've researched and now
yep,
that you've heard so many encounters. And you even think that we'll talk about it on the next encounter. You could say that about the first encounter, what you thought about the first encounter after you had your second encounter. But yeah, okay, cool, man. So you know what? I think we're going on 54 minutes now in the live. So let's go ahead and start the recent encounter you had, man. How long ago was that?
Uh, 6 months ago.
6 months
No, not
ago.
even that. Probably 5,
Wow. Okay, so that was
because I
recent.
was
That was
living there
very
for a
recent.
couple months. Yeah, because
Okay.
like I said, we just moved into this house my grandpa had and stuff. But he
Right.
ended up getting sick before he died, and
Hmm.
he couldn't take care of himself, so he moved into this home. And
Right.
the house sat empty for at least 2 years,
2 years.
and
Okay.
then we
Yeah.
moved into it. Yeah, which is
Okay.
why I had to fix the shingles and stuff, which is why I fell off the roof.
Right. Yeah. 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 Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, and
Hmm.
the first time I noticed something,
Hmm.
I was in the back, and it was still kind of cold out at this point. There was no snow though, but I was getting things set up for a garden. I do a garden every year. We grow grapes and stuff, and I find it fun to grow gardens too. My
Hmm.
mom, she was in a bad car wreck, and her neck's injured, so she can't work and stuff. So she loves to plant flowers and stuff like that. So I was getting a bunch of stuff set up, pulling some fertilizer out and setting these 2x4s up to like outline the garden. And after my first encounter, I started carrying a gun with me every time I went in the woods. Like, it didn't matter. I had a gun with me at all
Right.
times.
Right.
And I was sitting there, and I was dragging like a 2x4 over to this thing, and I heard something in the woods, like right at the edge of the woods.
Hmm.
And my reaction was I kind of just panicked, and I pulled the gun out. And when I looked up, I just saw like kind of a flash of something running away. And in my head, I was thinking, I hope that wasn't what I think it was.
Right.
And now I know it was, but it was definitely a dog man running away from me. And I
Right.
think it saw me pull out the gun, and it took off. But I think I surprised it because the house has been empty for 2 years. I don't think it expected someone to be there.
Right.
And this was later in the evening too when that happened. And for the next month, I probably did some more stuff around the house, and then there's like a river that cuts through the property, and I just wanted to see what I could catch out of it. Like, I was just bored, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna go fishing. And
Hmm.
I grabbed a lawn chair, and I grabbed my it's like a Remington like lever action. I grabbed that, and then I
Right.
went out and I sat by the edge of this river, and I was just sitting there fishing.
Hmm.
I was there for a while. I didn't have music going, nothing like that. I was just sitting there with a fishing pole, and I didn't catch anything. But as I was sitting there,
Hmm.
some time went by, and I was just sitting there staring at the water, and I suddenly got this sense of uh, like all the hair on my body raised up, and I felt scared, like terrified, and I kind of looked over my shoulder, and that's when I saw this dog man kind of just sitting there, and he wasn't like hiding; he was in the open, and it it was so much bigger than the first one. Like, this one had such more of a presence than my first encounter. It scared me so bad. I ran into the river, and I was waist deep in it before I knew it. And
Wow.
I mean, the
Wow.
water was still cold. It's still kind of winter time, you know. The
Hmm.
water's at least it was 40 degrees outside, so
Hmm.
I had a big jacket on and stuff, and I ran waist deep in that water because I was just it frightened me, truly scared me. And this thing was standing in between me and the direction I had to go to get onto the path that leads me back to my house. So it was in between me and my house, you know,
Hmm.
and I just kind of stared at it, and it approached me a little bit, but its body language was way different. It was like when we were talking on the phone, it was flexing on me. It was
Yeah.
showing its
Sizing
teeth.
you
It
up. It
was
was sizing you up.
kind
Yeah.
of yeah, it was size yeah.
Hmm.
It the other one, the first encounter, it had its hands kind of in like a fist closer to its body. This one, its hands were out straight more,
Hmm.
and its ears were back, and its head was down, like straight down, looking straight at me. It didn't look away. It didn't look side to side, nothing like
Uh-huh.
that. It was staring a hole through me,
Wow.
and I could hear it kind of snarl a little bit, and
Hmm.
it straightened itself up some, and I could tell the size difference in this thing was
Hmm.
unbelievable. This I can easily say it was 8 to 9 feet tall, like, and
Wow.
it was probably twice the weight of the first one I saw.
Wow.
And it was, I want to say, it was literally like flexing its muscles. It was making itself as big as possible. I could see its hair almost like it was standing on end. But this thing didn't look well groomed. It looked shabby. Like it looked like it had kind of like a chunk of fur missing off its neck,
Hmm.
and it looked a bit dirtier, and it was almost jet black, kind of like a charcoal type color. And
Wow.
I'm trying to think back of to like how it moved next, but I know it sat there. We stared at each other for a minute, and I had my rifle in my hand too, and it was not scared. It was not frightened of me at all,
Hmm.
and it showed its teeth, and it kind of took a couple steps to the side, but at the same time, its body was still facing me, but it kind of took a step to the side, and then it kind of relaxed a little bit, and then walked off up towards the trail, and then it was out of sight. And I still stood there for a few minutes in the cold water, terrified, because I didn't know if I should even attempt to, because I had to head in its direction to get back home, which was
Wow.
terrifying.
Yeah.
But I think, me personally, I think it saw me pull the gun and stuff, and I think it wanted to come and tell me, hey, this is my place.
My territory. Yeah.
Yeah, it was purposely trying to scare me, and it succeeded. It was
Right.
terrifying. And
Wow.
a little bit after that, probably a couple months after that, we could hear it outside walking around the house and stuff. It was heavy footed. You could hear it as it walked, and we always kept the windows closed and stuff. And even my mom, she was in the kitchen one day, and it's an older house, and like the bottom foundation is kind of made out of concrete with some drywall and stuff.
Hmm.
And she heard this thing it growled, and she could hear it through the wall. Like it was, she said it was loud, and uh, there was a couple times I've heard like I want to say like a howl, but it's kind of like a person screaming at the top of their lungs, along with like a howling sound that sounds hollow and deep.
Yes. Hmm.
And we've heard that. And then there was one time it had to be close to the house, and it let out this kind of like just like a massive yell, like a massive, extremely loud noise, and we could literally see the windows literally vibrated when it did this.
Hmm.
And then the
Wow.
next day, I went out and I found this deer. Well, I didn't even find the deer. I just found a bunch of fur and blood and a piece of a leg.
Mm.
And it's not like if a mountain lion would get it, it would drag the whole thing off, and
Hmm.
climb up in a tree or something with it. If a bear would have got it, it would have ate it there on the spot, and there would have been entrails and stuff. This thing is like it ripped it apart and then took every piece with it,
Wow. Hmm.
and that scared me. And there was a bunch of deer around, and like
Hmm.
they've gotten kind of used to me. They don't run when they see me anymore, but
Hmm.
they're I've always seen deer come out right before night and stuff, or
Mm.
early in the morning. I'm not a big hunter though, so I'm not too sure on when deer come out. But the deer, I think they act a little weird because they will stick extremely close to the house now. The deer are literally starting to stay like right next to the house. I've gone out on the back porch and seen, deer bunk down in the backyard, which
Hmm.
it surprises me because I don't see a deer doing that, especially close to humans out in the middle of nowhere. It's like they got tons of other places to go.
Right.
But that encounter was terrifying. Like I said, it was definitely sizing me up, and it was
Yeah.
it was sending me a message, in my opinion.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. I think, you know what I think, like I told you in our, talk that we had the other day, I think it was really, it spotted you there, and the house being empty for 2 years, I think that like a lot of times the nature takes back, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
him not seeing anyone there, I guess he thought that it was just abandoned, and that he could take over that area and that house and whatever it's in that area. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
yeah, so that's what I think that it was. That's why it was sizing you up, like letting you know, hey, you're in my territory. You know what I mean? I don't know what you think you're doing
yep,
here, but this is my territory. That that type of
yep.
interaction that he
That
had with
that's
you.
exactly how it felt.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that's cool, man.
He
Thank
was
you.
letting me know that he was in charge, like,
Right. Mm-hmm.
because I had a
Yeah.
rifle in my hand. He didn't care. He did not care.
Right. Right. And yeah, I mean, but by what you described is he was flexing on you. You know what I mean? He was like, "Hey, I'm
Yeah,
here. This is my area." You
yep.
know what I mean? That he's
And that's the
flexing
thing.
on
I
you.
could
That's
see the fact that he was swelling up his muscles. He was like a bodybuilder would flex. He was literally making
right.
himself big, as big as he could. His
Right.
hair was standing on end. He was standing strong, like he was ready to go.
Yes, I remember you telling me just like the cats, how they puff up their hair like
Yeah,
when they're about to fight. That's what it looked like, right?
yep,
I remember.
yep. It's exactly what it looked like. He was,
That's
and I
wow.
seen the moment he relaxed for a second,
Hmm.
and I could see his whole body kind of loosen up, and that's when he took a step sideways. And then I don't know if he was evaluating if I was a threat or not.
Right.
I guess I didn't make a move towards him. I originally went to run, but the only way I had to go was into a river.
That's why you jumped in the river. Yeah.
Yeah, like I
Now,
said, the first encounter, I didn't even move. You know what I
hmm
mean? Like
right.
I wasn't scared like that. I was
Hmm.
amazed, but this one, I felt it before I even saw it. I don't know how, but it's like if someone would breathe down the back of your neck. It was just like a feeling of something bad's going to happen.
Hmm. Right. Right. Hey, now let me ask you this. Do you think that the second encounter most likely might have been a male, and the first encounter might have been a female?
I definitely think the first one was a female. I
Right.
didn't I didn't really see on the big one that if it had male parts,
Hmm.
but by looking at like thinking about the two, the
Right.
first one definitely had a female essence about it. It didn't.
Hmm.
It wasn't imposing. I'm not saying that females aren't imposing. I'm just saying it. It wasn't territorial like this one was. It didn't have that sense of this is my land. What are you doing here?
Right.
It was more like curious as to why I was there, not mad that I was there.
Hmm. Right. Right.
And my first
Exactly.
encounter happened maybe 100 miles from where I live now.
Hmm. And you know why I say that, Chris? Well, better yet, why I ask you that if you think the first one was a female and the second one was a male, because the first one was really non-threatening to you. You know what I mean? Whereas the second one was really threatening to you. And like I was telling you in our talk, you know, males tend to do that. You know, more territorial, more disputable. You know what I mean? Where females don't. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? In general as a species, but
Yep.
I think even because I've heard many encounters where they think it's a female and they're not so aggressive, they're not so threatening. In other words, you know what I mean?
Yeah. They're not so threatening.
Right. And the second one sounds like it was a male because of the behavior that you just told us. You know, that where it was sizing you up, it was flexing on you, flexing its muscles.
Yeah.
The hair was standing up and all that. You know, like it was ready to go. You know, like ready to attack her. You know,
Yeah.
and another thing too that I remember you saying is that the first one, its hair was like really beautiful, like well taken care of, well groomed, right?
Yeah.
So I would think logically
Yep.
that would be a female. You know what I mean? And the second one,
Yep. And the other one,
yeah,
it was tore up. It looked like it's been in fights before.
exactly. It was
Like I
missing a
said,
part
around
of
the base of
fur.
its neck,
Yeah,
almost on its chest, it looked like it had a chunk almost taken out of it. Like,
right. Yeah, yeah. Well, just like if you look at it really, like a lot of people, maybe can't. Well, they could tell because obviously a lion has the mane, which is this guy right there, and the female lions don't have a
Yeah,
mane, right? Obviously, that's a dead giveaway. But if you notice, the female lions are a lot more like graceful. You know what I mean? Like they're a lot more. Their features, their
yeah,
face is like more, like beautiful looking. You know what I mean? Where the lions, the males, they got
yeah,
scars all in their eyes. They got hair missing.
yeah.
They
No,
got, like it looks like a male, like it's been in battles. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to
yeah,
relate this to.
yep.
So, that's why I'm pointing out that the first
And
one
that's
was a female.
yeah. I had that exact opinion too. It's that you could just see the difference in it. When
Right.
I had the first encounter, I never said it was a female. I always said he. You know what I mean?
Right,
Like when
right.
I was
Yeah,
telling the
because you didn't
encounter.
know. Right,
But
because you
now
didn't
when I
know.
tell the, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. But now when I tell the counter, I'm like, I say she because it's just my opinion. It's what I
Right.
believe. I believe it
And
was
I
a
agree.
female.
I agree, bro. I agree, man. It totally sounds like a female just by everything you told us. Its demeanor, non aggressive, uh, beautiful hair, beautiful colors, you know what I mean? The gray and the white, whereas
Yeah,
males tend to have like darker colors, you know what I mean? Jet black or dark gray, whatever, like, you know what I mean? So,
yeah.
yeah,
This thing was it was
that,
black almost. Like it was like charcoal.
yeah. That's why I kept saying on your first encounter. That's why it makes sense to you now more because since you had your second encounter, it makes a lot more sense of your first
Yeah.
encounter, right? Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, the first one I didn't run. You know what I mean? Because like I'm experienced in the woods. I know not to run from a predator.
Right.
That thing,
Exactly.
the second one almost made me go swimming in 20-degree water.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean,
I didn't think
that's
twice about my own safety at that point. I was like, I'm gonna go dive in this river.
right.
And all it took was a 2-second look at this thing for me to make me decide to run.
Right.
I think the only thing that stopped me was the water. I don't think if there was no water there, I think I would have just kept running.
Right. Yeah, and you said the water came up like what, waist high, right? Like right above your waist, the water.
Huh?
You said that the water level was like waist high around your waist,
It was right above my waist, like
right
kind of
above.
like at my belly button. That's how far I went in.
Right. Shot, man. Honestly, I would have took off swimming, bro. Me, that's just I would have left everything
I don't know
behind, and
why I stopped.
I don't know why you stopped.
Yeah. Oh, I did. After that,
Yeah.
after it walked away, and I decided to try to just run back to my house. I left
Hmm.
everything. I left a $150 fishing pole. I was done. I didn't want anything to do with it. I just left.
Yeah.
The only thing I took was my gun,
Yeah.
and I was soaking wet.
Right.
And then I didn't leave my house for a while after that. And then after I fell off the roof, you know what I mean?
Right.
That image came into my head of that thing standing there staring at me. And I was like, oh, now it's going to know I'm injured and can't fight back. And oh, God.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. And you know what?
And
I
I think
want
I hurt myself a little bit more because I was trying to
to.
get up so much because that thought alone was trying to make me get off my feet or get onto my feet.
Hmm. Right. Exactly. Right. Well, I don't know. I mean, I guess everybody, has a different, personality and different reaction. You could say, right? A lot of people just freeze. Some people run.
Yeah.
Some people fight. Some people, just walk backwards and try to not get attacked by this thing or whatever. But yeah, I think I would have if I would have seen it, man. I would at least took off swimming down that downstream on that
Yeah.
river. Something to get
Like I
away
said, my
from it.
buddy, yeah,
Yeah,
like just a 2-second look at this thing was enough to tell me, nope, I'm out.
yeah,
I tried to talk to the first one, you know what I mean? I was like, hey, like I yelled at it.
right. Yeah, would you say, "Hey, boy," or something like that?
Just
I
it looked
remember
like
you
a big
saying
dog.
something. Yeah, you said, "Hey, boy, what are you doing?" or something like that, and it turned around, looked at you, and you're like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I was just like, oh my God. I was like, this is a big dog. Like, what is this
Hmm.
dog doing out here?
Yeah.
And then
And
as it started moving, I started noticing that it was not right looking. Like its arms were too long and its legs were too long, but yet they were
Right.
crouched down, and then it stood up, and that's when like my brain shut off.
That's when, yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't know what to
exactly.
think anymore.
Yep. You know why? Because you weren't expecting that. You know what I mean? You weren't expecting it
Yeah, I wasn't.
to stand up straight. Nobody is really. I mean, if I see a wolf,
Yep.
I'm. But if it stands up, then I'm like, holy shit! I think my soul will leave my body.
Yeah.
Fall down
Yeah.
and
Oh,
either
I
die
think my
or.
soul left my body for a couple years.
Yeah, I don't know what I would do, man. I think everybody's just different reaction, but yeah, wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Um, hey,
It's crazy now because sometimes, especially with this big one, I can think about my reaction and laugh at it a little bit. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Because like this thing stood up on its back legs and started walking towards me, and it's not like I don't get scared easy. I really don't, because I've gone camping in the deep woods like my whole life. Like I'm not really startled about much, but this thing like stunned me so bad that I let it get 10 feet away from me because I couldn't move. I just couldn't. I've never had that feeling before.
right, exactly. And I don't know what I would do, bro. I mean, I kind of do now because of all this, looking into and researching and uh, Dogman, Dogman, and all the cryptids for the past 7 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would know what to do, but well, I say I do, but your reaction is different. I mean, depending on what your brain does. If your brain kicks into high gear, then
Yeah.
you're gonna know what you do. But if your brain freezes, like you
Yep.
said, then you ain't gonna know what the hell to do. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
but at least you have some
Because
pointers
like there
on.
was just
Uh huh.
yeah, all the training I've had, you know what I mean. Every bit of experience that I have
Hmm.
being in the woods meant
Hmm.
absolutely nothing. Nothing. Like it was like I was a baby seeing the world for the first time, and that's another thing I wanted to say. It opened my mind up so much to stuff.
Right. Right.
It made me think about the world way different.
Exactly. See, and that's what I
Like
like to.
before, it
Right. Hmm.
go ahead.
That's what I like to say that a lot of people, and it's obvious. I mean, I know, I get it. You don't believe it till you see it. Yeah, that is true. But
Yeah,
there's a lot of us people that never seen these creatures, and we still believe them. We still believe in them. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like I told you in our talk
Well, once
that
I started
like when I had my UFO encounters, I already believed in UFOs before I had my 3 UFO encounters.
yeah,
I already believed in them before I even seen the first one. So that goes to say that you know people like us, we believe in it because we really think it does exist, and then we confirm it. Oh man, that's even better, dude. That's like pot of gold. So that's the way I think about cryptids too. That I believe in it, and a lot of people in the chat believe in it, and a lot of my cryptid friends believe in it. Even though they might have had
yeah,
something or the other as far as Bigfoot encounter or Dogman encounter. Like Bettina Moss, she had a Dogman encounter. Tom Cardos had like a Bigfoot encounter. I had what I think might have been a Bigfoot encounter with something really smelly, something creeping up behind me when I was like 13 years old, playing in the woods with my buddies, playing hide and go seek, and I smelled something and I heard something behind me. It smelled really, really bad. And I was the last one to come in from the hide and go seek game or whatever. And I was like, hey, was somebody behind me? And like, no, dude, we've been here for like 10, 15 minutes. This is just like a real quick recap of my encounter that I like to say it's a dogman.
yeah,
No, not dogman, Bigfoot, because it didn't growl at me, it didn't do anything. It was just, I guess, looking at me, but I couldn't see it. I remember I looked back and looked in the trees and I couldn't see anything. So obviously, they're the hide and go seek champs, and that they don't have that title for nothing. So
oh yeah,
you know what I mean. So that's what I think. I might have encountered because I do recall that very well, but I never got a good look of it or anything. That's why I can't say confirm it 100%. Bigfoot, which I wish I could, but I can't. So Yeah, but that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying. A lot of people, we believe
but
in it
still,
even though we
sometimes,
never had them. Yeah.
yeah, sometimes a little things can be enough to make you believe.
Hmm. Yes, yes, exactly.
That's why I said once I started researching it and seeing all the evidence and just, you know,
Hmm.
it's overwhelming, honestly.
Right,
And doing shows like this, it makes me feel better because it makes me feel like I'm not alone. Because
right,
listening to other people's encounters and stuff, and
right. And then you
if
got
this
friends,
outlet wasn't here,
right, right. And then you got
yeah,
friends like,
if this outlet wasn't here,
yeah.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. If this outlet wasn't here,
Oh, you're good. I was just if this outlet wasn't here, uh, I would still be sitting at home by myself trying to figure out what these things are.
yes,
But
yes,
now I can listen
exactly.
to other people talk who've gone through the same thing, and
Exactly, and exactly, and the good thing is that you along the way, with this that you had your encounters, you met people like me, and you met people like fun fact guys. He's a real good friend of Todd T, which I interviewed here on my show as well last year. It was like one of my first shows. I think it was like number one or number two or number three, something like that. But he's real good friends with Todd T because Todd
yeah,
T also had a Dogman encounter, and Todd T also has PTSD, and he still has it to this day. He calls me up every once in a while. Hey
yeah,
Carlos, what are you doing? Hey Carlos, can I talk to you, bro? I really need to talk to somebody. I'm feeling anxiety. I'm feeling yeah, bro.
yep,
I'm here for you, and I stay up with him till like 2, 3 in the morning, bro. 2, 3, 4 hour
yep,
talks. And I'm always there for him. I'll always be here for you too, Chris. Because I know that y'all have PTSD because of that, bro. You know what I'm saying? I don't just use people
yep,
just to have you on my show and buy dudes. I'll never see you again. No, bro. I know I don't do that. I'm a real friend, and everybody that's my friend knows that.
yeah,
And I'm always here to help anybody any way I can and support people. You know, like all my
yep,
friends that have their own podcast shows, they see me always supporting them. You know what I mean? And that's just the type of person I am, bro. You know what I mean? I'm not like patting my own self in the back or anything, but I'm just saying that's the type of person I am, and a lot of people
oh no, but
know
that's
that.
that's a good thing though.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
deserve to give yourself a pat on the back. Oh, to be honest,
yeah. Well, yeah,
because there's a lot of people who will just laugh
yeah,
at your face.
yeah,
Like
yeah, exactly, yeah, exactly. So, So yeah, man. I mean, speaking of that, like you said, this outlet, yeah, and it's really and it works really well, uh, for you as an eyewitness, for us as a host to have you on and tell your encounters and warn people about the dangers in the woods, right? And it's good for the people that go into YouTube and let me check this video out. You know what they're talking about, Dogman.
yeah,
What is a dogman? Let me check it out. Oh, that's what a dogman is. Damn. And then they'll start getting intrigued, and then they'll
yeah,
start learning more and more and more as they go, watching different podcasts, watching different channels about Dogman, and they learn more and more and more. You know what I'm saying? That's how basically this
yeah,
works. So yeah, it's great. It's great, man. It's
yep,
great having people like you come on our podcast that we do lives. You know what I mean? Because yeah, you came on with Vic, but nobody can ask you any questions other than the comments, and I doubt that you go back there and answer their questions. In the comments or Vic. You know what I mean? I doubt it. So here with us, at least you get a chance to explain yourself and answer questions as you're telling your encounters. You know what I mean?
yeah. I still get worked up sometimes when I talk
Yeah,
about my encounters, like
I know.
my anxiety and stuff. I'll start to stutter sometimes, and it's just sheer thinking about it.
Right, right. Hey, let me ask you something. Now that I mentioned that you're Todd T's good friend, so you told me that you guys call each other quite often, right? And talk and
Oh yeah,
try to vent with one another, right? You told me that.
yeah. Vic
Right.
gave me his number and said that he was going through some tough times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It might be good for us to talk. So we
Right.
started talking, and I've been talking to him ever since I did Vic's show. So,
Yes. Yes.
and I've
Exactly.
talked to a few other people too. You know, I mean, anybody, even if you know somebody who needs to talk, don't hesitate to give them my number. Like,
Right.
because I know how it is not having anybody to talk to, and just you worry yourself sick over it sometimes.
Yes. Yes, that is true. That is true, man. You'll drive
And
yourself crazy. You know what I mean? Just thinking about it.
yeah,
I
you
mean, you
do.
got
Like you literally, you will
yeah,
drive
you
yourself crazy.
right, right, exactly. Yeah, because I mean, and it's
And
good to talk about it. Like, see, there's a good friend of mine right now. He's on here. Abe Sears. He's from Spiritual Encrypted Encounters, and he says you're never the same after the encounter, which he had multiple encounters, and
yeah,
that's why that's he's one of the types that likes to vent, and talk about it, to feel better about it. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't want to keep it
oh
inside.
yeah,
He wants to let people know what he went through. Let kind of like teach people
yeah,
about the things that he's seen and explain. He does really good explaining. Like he sometimes he goes live on his channel, and he does like a really good explaining, man. And sometimes I sit there and listen. I'm like, wow, yeah, that makes sense, man. Wow, yeah, that's cool. When I have time, I go in there and listen to his live streams. But like I'm saying, like him, he also has PTSD, brother. You know what I'm saying? But he deals better with it. He deals with it better than others. See what I'm saying? He vents through
yeah,
his channel, through his group, through his, you know what I mean? So yeah.
yep. After I started venting and I started talking about it,
hmm
that's when my nightmares started to subside. But keeping it all bottled in, it makes everything worse. It really does.
Yes, yes, exactly. It makes everything worse, man, because you're
'Cause,
going crazy, like we
yep,
said,
I'd have
like we
nightmares
mentioned.
of trying to run away from these things,
Yes, yes, exactly.
falling, them standing over top of me while I'm sleeping. Like those are
Yeah,
the worst. Like where I'd
yep,
have a dream that I'm sleeping and this thing's standing over top of me, and it's just like
right,
it's terrifying. But after I started talking about it and expressing it, it went away some. It's gotten better.
right. Yeah, it helps you. Kind of like heal
I was
your.
afraid the second counter was going to like trigger my PTSD, and but it didn't really.
Right, right, exactly.
It made me more cautious around my house, that's for sure.
Yes, yes, exactly. Hey, so I have some questions about your second encounter, man. Um, if anybody in the chat has questions, you're free to ask them now, guys, because we are going on an hour and 27 minutes. So we're gonna be, pretty much wrapping it up here, and I don't know, maybe 15 minutes or so. But if anybody, good night, B. So if anybody has a question, about the second encounter or whatever it may be, go ahead and ask them now. Um, hey, man of light from New Jersey, how you doing, brother? Hey, so my question is, well, I have a few questions on the second encounter, being that you said that it was jet black and it was huge and it was like 9 to 10 feet, where the first one was only like 6.5, 7 feet. Um, what do
Yeah.
you what do you what do you what do you look for or watch out for when you go into the woods now, bro? That you've had your two encounters.
Now I
hmm
I often I watch my back a lot more often, and also I try not to be quiet at all. I said that in Vic show too. Like I'll
hmm
walk through the woods singing and stuff because a lot of predators, they'll hear you coming and they'll get out the way before you even get to them, especially if they hear you coming.
hmm
But with these things, it's made me more cautious of doing that because I don't know if them hearing me is gonna make them curious and come check me out.
hmm
So I've had a lot of conflicting thoughts over what to do about them. And I think the best thing is to, if you like hear one or if you think you see one, to just turn around. Do not go looking for them. I definitely don't.
Right,
It's not something cool to see. I don't consider myself lucky at all to have seen one. But
right.
I'm definitely a lot more cautious when I go in the woods, especially when I go camping. Uh, I went out and bought this like electric fence thing,
Hmm.
And really, it doesn't even shock stuff, but it it goes off like it beeps. It links around the campsite, and then if something triggers it, it'll beep. And then
Hmm.
I've also heard this thing about like extremely loud sudden noises will scare stuff off.
Hmm.
So just just for my own good, I bring an air horn too. I don't know if that
Okay.
sounds weird, but
No, it
if
makes
something
sense.
triggers that alarm,
Hmm.
I'll use the air horn to try to scare it off real quick. You know what I mean?
That's a
And
good idea.
it's worked,
Yes.
but I I've had stuff trigger it, but I never know what it is because it's a distance off from the campsite itself.
Right. Right. Hey, you know what? A good buddy of mine. He's a real good cryptid researcher. Um, he told me that taking bear spray is good, and like obviously high powered flashlight, like especially if you're at night, because you'll blind something that might want to attack you, whether it be a mountain lion or bear or cougar, or in this case dogman, right?
Oh yeah,
You'll blind them, right?
yep,
And also his name is Ricardo Sanchez. A lot of people know him. He once he told me, take a if you go out there like that and you're scared that something might come out and try to pounce at you or anything like that, then take some mosquito spray, and of course for
yeah,
mosquitoes, right? Because you're out there in the woods, you're already gonna take that anyway. But take a lighter and you can light it up and spray like a flame. You know what I mean? And that's like
oh yeah,
it'll give you time to scare it off for one. Being a flame, because any animal
yeah,
or cryptid is scared of fire. That's the only thing they're scared of. They're really scared of, and I believe because
oh yeah,
they've seen forest fires and they've seen their kind burn. You know what I mean? So that's why I think that's
yep.
why they're so scared of fire. And there's
That's why
so
during my
many.
first encounter, that's
Yes,
why I lit a big bonfire.
yes, exactly. That's a great protection right there, bro. There was this very famous one encounter about a man that was being stalked by a dogman, and he was just like you. He stayed there. He held his ground, but he put like a ring of fire. You know what I mean, around him, and this thing was scared to get
Yeah,
close because of the fire. It's a really good encounter on Big Show, matter of fact. But yeah, and that's why I was like, okay, so fire is the only thing they're scared of, because I've heard so many other encounters talking about fires and bonfires and fire torches and whatever. So
yep,
I'm like, okay, so fire is the best thing to use as a defense
yeah. That
against any animal. I think even a bear. You know how bears are
yeah, I was
like
gonna say that goes.
8 foot tall.
Yep,
They're big. If they hug you, if they can crush you just
yep,
by landing on top of you, whatever, or with their claw. They'll just kill you. You know what I mean?
yep.
Their power, their sheer muscle, and they'll overtake you like
Yeah.
nothing. But if you spray a good flame of fire at it, guess what? It's gonna turn around and run away. You
Oh
know what I
yeah.
mean?
Well, usually bears they have a good sense of smell. You know what I mean? So they
Yeah,
can smell a fire
yeah,
off
because
in the
they
distance, and
they they they
they'll
they
avoid it completely.
right, because they see like, oh, this small creature can produce fire. Oh, I'm out of here because he's gonna burn me. You know what I'm saying? They don't
Yeah.
care. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? They don't care how tall you are, how
Yeah.
short you are. If you're producing fire and you're shooting it at
Yep.
their way, believe me, they're gonna run. You know what I mean? They'll be like, "I'll be
Oh
back.
yeah.
I'll look. I'll track him down later. Another day or whatever." But yeah,
It's because they weigh the risk versus reward. You know what I mean? They're like, yeah, I can try to
exactly.
attack this thing,
But
but
it's not worth it.
they know what fire does. So if they get hurt, then they can't hunt anymore. They're dead. So
Yes, yes, exactly.
it's
So
not worth it.
yeah, they know it's better to live another day. You know what I mean? Than die then and
Yeah.
there, right? Risking it, right?
Yep. They know
Yeah,
they can go kill a deer for food just as easy,
yeah, yeah.
without getting burned.
Without it shooting fire back at him.
Yeah.
Yeah. But well, yeah, man. Is there anything else that you would like to recommend people on going out there? Because I know there's tons of people that like to go camping, and they, even though they hear these type of encounters and stories, they still go out there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. You know, if I
Yeah,
was
well, I mean,
if I would have been a camper and I've heard these stories, I wouldn't go out camping anymore. That simple. I mean, I wouldn't. Not
yeah,
alone. At least not alone. I'd go with like a big
yeah.
group, yeah, but not alone. So you that you
Well,
like
see,
to go out there solo
I,
camping, you know,
yeah.
tell us what you think of that now after you had your encounters.
Well, like I said, the main thing is to research where you're going. You know what I mean? And also, you got to be careful, especially even if you're not going like deep woods camping and stuff. If you're just
Hmm.
going camping somewhere and you followed a trail to get there,
Right.
don't. If you're not like good at being in the woods, don't go and try going off the trail. You know, and like walk around off the trail and stuff because that it can be one of the most dangerous things to do. Because if
Yes.
you sometimes I've almost fallen down hills and cliffs myself because
Hmm.
sometimes the horizon and stuff can play tricks on you, you know, and you
Right.
don't realize that how steep a drop can be until
Right.
you're going down it.
Right. Right.
And stuff
Exactly.
like that's how people fall. They break their leg, and you know, you only have to fall. Let's say I fell from 15 feet and broke my leg in two places, broke some ribs, fucking cracked my or fractured my arm. You don't need to fall far to hurt yourself. But also research where you're going because if you go like, especially if you believe in dogmen and stuff,
Right.
you know, if you look up an area and there's like, oh, there's been 32 missing peoples in this area alone, like, I don't think it'd be smart to go there.
Exactly. Hey, there's your sign. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
if you don't pay attention to the signs, it's like, well, you know, I feel sorry
Yeah.
for you. You know. So
Yep. And also, like, if you're going out and looking for these things, going out where there's a bunch of missing people probably isn't the best place to look for one of these because that probably means that whatever's there is aggressive. You
yes,
know?
exactly, exactly, and there's a reason for many missing people in that area. So yeah, that's not a smart thing to do. You
Yeah.
know.
Nope.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've
Yeah.
hiked the Appalachian Trail and stuff, and
Right.
every place can be dangerous. It don't matter if hundreds of people hike through there a day. You can go, you know, 30 feet off the trail and get lost. It's very easy to do.
Right.
I recommend getting any kind of GPS system or any kind of like alert thing.
Hmm.
Always let people know where you're going. Never just go out. Every time I leave, you know, I leave literally a detailed map of where I'm going or where I might be.
Right. Yes. Always let somebody know
You
where
know,
you're gonna be. Yeah. In case you don't make it back in, you
yep.
know, so much time, they'll
Yeah,
go out
give
there and
them a
look for you.
timeline too. Be like, hey, if I don't come back in 5 days, there's something wrong, you know? Like,
Hmm.
and hopefully you don't hurt yourself on the first day. And, you know, you don't want to give them too long. Don't be like, oh, if I, because you could hurt yourself on the first day,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
then 2 weeks later, you're already dead,
Yeah. Exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
You're like, if you, at least if you're going out for 2 weeks, be like, hey, if I don't call you in 3, 4 days, or if I don't get a hold of you, then something's wrong, you know?
Right. 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 Right.
I have a
Exactly.
satellite phone too, but uh, they're not as expensive as people think they are. You know, spending money on good equipment, especially if you like going camping, is never a bad idea. It can literally save your life a lot.
You
I've
know.
never been in a situation to where like I've had to use it, but
Right. You know what I think is another, and I don't think I've ever mentioned this before, but I think is another thing that is great for self defense against these type of predators anyway, which is Dogman and Bigfoot. They don't like cameras. They don't like people taking pictures of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I think that if they see that you have a camera, they'll go away because they don't want you to have any type of proof that they
yeah,
exist. And I don't know for what reason it may be, but they don't like cameras. So, you know, that would be my
yep,
big go to. If I was to be out in the woods, I would be and I would be like maybe say, you know, get startled by something, right? A noise, a crack, you know, a branch or something, you know, falling off a
yeah,
tree or something. And I would get startled like, oh shit, there's something here, you know, or I get that sense, you know, that we all get like somebody's watching us. Then what I would do is I would either take out my phone or my GoPro or whatever I have and start recording and start talking to the camera like, hey guys, hey, I'm out here, look, check it out, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And pan all around and that would make them leave, bro. You know what I mean? Because they're like, oh shit, he's gonna get me on camera. I better,
Yep.
I better move away and get out of
Yeah.
here or whatever. You know what I mean?
And
I think
also,
that's a smart move. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's just me, but
Oh, absolutely.
yeah,
And I think they also don't like cameras because I don't think they like stuff being pointed at them.
right.
Because I'm sure they know what guns are. It's like, I'm sure they don't like stuff being pointed at them, period. Because, we're these weird creatures that have, boomsticks that can kill things. So,
Hmm. Right. Yeah,
but,
my
yeah, it's
good.
just, you just got to be safe. Especially, I go solo camping, but I don't do it lightly. You know what I mean? Like, I've done it since I was a little kid. So,
Right. Is there any like new or modified gadgets or weapons that you take out there now that since you had your especially your second encounter?
uh, there, there's a few things. There's this, the instant cooking pots.
Hmm.
I know it may sound weird, but like they light just by turning a knob, but they also have a safety thing on it, so you can't just like do it. But if you would need to, you can pour the gas out of that and make a fire instantly. Like if you were in a situation where you needed to make a fire quick, or like I said, satellite phones have gotten so cheap, and also a really good flashlight that's extremely bright. I think you said that earlier.
Yes, yes, high powered.
Uh,
Yes,
that's
extremely bright. The
Yep.
way you
I use an
can.
LED. Yeah, I use an LED lantern, and it literally lights up 20 feet around me. You
That's
know,
right. That's right. Yeah, you were telling me that. Yeah, it lights up.
anytime I go to the bathroom, I have that thing on.
Right, exactly. Yeah, because you want to light your surroundings at least 10-foot radius or something, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You want to be able to see, and also things don't like to come in the light. Even mountain lions, they
Hmm.
won't try to attack you if you're surrounded in light. They don't like it. They'll
Right.
always try to attack you when you're not looking in the dark.
In dark. Right. Makes sense. Hmm. Absolutely, man. Yeah. Well, like we were talking about the other day, man. We don't know a lot of times. People are quick to say Dogman attack or Bigfoot attack or whatever, but we don't really know what
Yeah,
the real culprits are. Of all these missing 411 cases.
yeah,
It could be tons of stuff. It could be natural wildlife, right, which is normal natural predators like cougars and whatever. Because if they, I don't know if you noticed, but I've watched many animals and predators videos on YouTube, National Geographic, ever since I was a kid. And predators, their instinct is to attack you when you're vulnerable or you're weak or
yeah,
when you're not looking, like you said. You know what I mean? So they can. So like,
yep,
okay, let's say you're in a trail, right? You're in a trail hike with a bunch of people, and a predator's watching all of y'all go by, and all of y'all communicate with each other. Y'all all walking by, like the seven little dwarfs singing, boom, walking around, walking through the trail, and he's just waiting for a split second that somebody wanders off
yeah.
or stops and looks at their phone or whatever, and everybody else, took off or whatever.
It keeps walking.
That's their cue.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's like, hey,
Yeah,
this is
they
my
look for you to
opportunity
break
right here. Boom.
off or be by
Yeah.
yourself. They,
Yes. And they
yeah,
snatch you. Boom. And guess what? Nobody even noticed. Why? Because you weren't with the pack.
yep,
Pack. You weren't with the pack. What you were supposed to be for protection. You wandered off, or you stalled back. Way back behind the hiking
yep,
line or whatever, and that's when it seized the opportunity. You know what I mean? And so a lot of times, all these 411 cases, it could be many things. It could be, like I said, wildlife. It could be these cryptids. It could be, anything, man. Anything
it could.
really. It could be
There's a lot of
aliens. It
accidents
could be
too. You know what I
aliens.
mean?
Who
Like,
knows? A damn portal right next
yeah,
to a bunch
it
of
could be.
trees. Come out, snatch you, and take you through the portal. Nobody really knows. You know what I mean? But there's many things. There's many things that that could be the culprits of all these missing 411 cases. But what I would like to point out, Chris, and this is kind of contradicting what you love to do, is not to go alone in the
Yeah.
woods, bro. You know what I mean? That's one thing. I
Oh
always,
yeah. I mean, it's
yeah, like even Todd. Whenever I talk to Todd, like, man, Carlito, I want to go out there. I want to go in in my hunting grounds, my family's hunting grounds, and and I want to go hunt, but I don't have anybody to go with me. Everybody's busy, but I really want to go out because he loves hunting. Right, man, I really want to go out there by
yeah.
myself. I tell him, no, Todd, don't go out there by yourself, bro, because you're putting yourself in danger by doing that, especially since they've already seen you. They already seen you, they smelled you, they know where you live, all of that. I mean, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to put yourself in that situation of danger going out there by
Yeah.
yourself, man?
I've definitely changed my habits since I've had
Yeah,
my encounter.
yeah, that's
Also,
good.
it's important to take precautions. But yeah, I understand that going solo
You know what I'm
camping is
saying?
not a
Yeah,
smart thing to do.
no, no, it's
Woods.
not. I mean, unless you're a really experienced, camper or hunter, for maybe 20, 30 years plus, then, that might be different. I can't really, I can't really speak for them. But I'm just saying, like a regular person that just likes to go hiking in the woods. You know what I mean? Uh, that's what I.
Yeah.
That's my number one advice that I like to give. Never go alone. You know what I mean? Ruthie Castro mentioned it earlier. A couple comments up. She said, "Yes, the key thing is never go alone." So, I completely agree with that, and I see a lot of comments that that they're agreeing as well. So yeah, man, that's a big thing for me, man. Never go alone. You know what I mean? I would never go alone. But you've done it for years, so it's different. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. That's just my point of view. I'm not trying to contradict you or what you love, but it does go against what you do and what you love. You know what I'm saying, Chris? Chris, are you still there? I don't know if I lost you there, buddy. Oh, okay, there he is. I did lose him. I'll bring him back, guys. Chris, yeah, hey, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost you there for a second, man.
Yeah, I know. I got disconnected there for a minute.
Okay, all right, cool, cool, cool. All right, man. Okay, so yeah, so I mean, like I was saying, I don't mean to go, against what you love. You know what I mean? Going out there hiking by yourself, but that's just one thing that for me at least, I like to recommend people not to go alone, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I can hear you. I can hear you good now, Chris. Chris, are you there? But can you hear me? Yes, definitely in the trees. Always look up. Yes, yes. Primal cry. That's absolutely a great, great advice. Look up in the trees. Yep. And watch for wildlife too. Warnings, as in birds. Birds like to warn people when there's danger around, especially crows and ravens. They like to squawk, when something a predator is around. Especially, I've learned this from many, many tons of encounters. After 7 years, imagine. Um, they they start squawking, like letting you know that there's something around. And when they start going crazy, that means that that's hey that's it's time for you to go. You know what I mean? So that's another good thing to look out for. She popped her roof. um yes, absolutely, Abe. Fear is what they smell. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yep. Try to stay without fear even if you're in a situation or encounter. Yes. Yes, keep your cool. Try not to panic because they do smell fear. Yeah, just like any animal. Dogs do that a lot. Dogs can smell. They can actually smell your intent. They can smell if you're a good person or a bad person, or if you want to harm them. They can smell that. Um, and these creatures out in the woods, I'm pretty sure they got better senses than regular dogs. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they can sense fear or smell fear actually. hmm Fear is wolf hybrid. Yeah, that wolf hybrid. That's like a coy wolf. Ruthie Castro. I think that is that what you're referring to? A coy wolf. Um, yes, primal cry. Fear is a vibration. Yes, it lets off this wave frequency. Lets them know that it's fear. That's why you get the shakies start shaking. That's actually giving off vibrations. By the way, primal cry. Thank you. Obama BF said, I do that too, stupid, but I've always done it. I'm not too sure what you're referring to, Bama. I think you're referring to the phone thing that I mentioned. Like, act like you're on the phone talking to somebody, or act like you're recording, and that makes any predator go away. Actually, that's a good tip too for you ladies out there. When you feel like somebody's following you, or somebody wants to harm you in any way or whatever, act like you're on the phone with somebody, and they'll be like, "Oh, I can't do anything because that person's gonna be the witness on the phone." That's a very good tip for all you ladies. I've seen that a lot with my sisters and my ex. They used to do that, and it's the same thing out in the woods. If you if you see a predator, you better act like you're talking about it. So, act like you're talking to somebody, or act like you're recording, or actually do record it just for the sake of it. I used to go alone, but I'm a female. You used to go camping or hiking, Ruthie? I take people now. Yeah. Um, I'm trying to see if I can reconnect with Chris, because I seem to have lost the the connection with Chris. But just give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna send him another invitation, another link, to see if he sees that and comes back. If not, then we're gonna have to wrap up the show here in just a few minutes. Um, yeah, guys. So yeah, that's a squirrels. Good one, Primal Cry. Squirrels will sound off alarm as well. Yes, they'll start chit chattering like really, really fast. Okay, Bama said about going out alone. Yeah. Ruthie says hiking. Yeah. And Diana says, yes, the birds are great protectors. Yes, they are. Because they can see everything from up above. Um, but yeah, thank you guys. I'm going to give him a couple of minutes. We're on 152, so yeah, say 2 minutes. If not, then we'll go ahead and wrap up the show tonight, guys. I just don't like, leaving a guest out like that. If he disconnects or something, I normally give him a couple minutes to see if he can come back. If not, then Um, but yeah, thank you everybody for being here tonight. I wanna thank everybody. I know our show kind of went a little long today, 1 hour and 53 minutes right now, but it was a good one, and Chris had a lot of information that to tell us, so that's why I decided to go that long with him, and the fact that he was in and out a couple times also. But yeah, it was a great show, and thank you everybody for coming, and everybody in the chat right now. Of course, I know there's other people that are gonna watch the video later, but everybody in the live chat right now, thank you. Thank you all for coming, man. Big shout out to you guys. Emma Johnson, I think that's like the first time I've seen Emma Johnson in here, but thank you for coming, Emma Johnson. Ruthie Castro, Diana Rodriguez, Aunt Rocks, Primal Cry, Spiritual Encrypted Encounter, Crypto Paranormal Encounters, North Carolina North Carolina Cryptid and Paranormal Project. My boy Tommy. Thank you, everybody that showed up tonight. I always like to give shout outs to other people and other friends in their shows. West Coast Dogman Project, Shane, thank you for coming out tonight, brother. And anybody that I might have missed on their shows, Cry, thank you. Obama BF, of course, thank you. A great friend of mine. Spiritual Encrypted Encounters with Abe Cias. Thank you, Abe, brother Abe, for coming in. I do watch a lot of your shows, Abe. Sometimes I don't catch the lives because I'm working or something, or out and about, doing things. So I don't catch them a lot when they're live, bro. I'm sorry about that, but I catch them once in a while. But I do go back and watch your videos, bro. Your lives, your live streams that go for about an hour or so. Yeah, I do go back and watch them. But yeah, thank you everyone for showing up tonight, man. Supporting. And if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Like I mentioned a couple of times in the past few shows that I'm trying to reach 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible, or as soon as I can. But yeah, thank you guys, thank you everyone for your continued support, man. Thank you to all my cryptid friends and all the new, now cryptid friends as well. Primal Cry, thank you. And I think we're gonna go ahead and call it a night, guys, because I don't think Chris is coming back. I sent him that second, no, not the last invite, and he hasn't responded. He hasn't come on in the YouTube the StreamYard studio. And so, Marquetta, thank you. Man of Light, thank you. Crypto Normal Encounters, thank you. And everybody else I mentioned already. And thank you guys, whoever comes in and watches this video after the live, like say tomorrow, next day, a month from now. Thank you for coming and watching this video. And make sure to hit the notification bell if you're subscribed already. That way you get the notifications when we go live next. And make sure you don't miss any future shows, because I got plenty of people lined up with good encounters. So thank you, Primal Cry. Good show. I'll have to go back and listen to the beginning since I came in late. Yeah, man, no problem, man. Yeah, go back and listen to it. It was really good. His intro, his bio and the intro. So yeah, take care, everyone. Yes, thank you, Primal Cry. Take care, you too, buddy. Thank you for being here tonight, showing love. And everybody else that I mentioned already, Ant Rocks, thank you, Ant Rocks. Appreciate you, brother. Like always, you're always here to the end, Anthony Rocks. Appreciate that, brother. Special shout out to Anthony Rocks. He's always here to the end with me, man. Every time I invite him. Thank you, man. I don't want to bore the hell out of you, but thank you, man. Thank you for sticking around to the end, bro. Diana, thank you too, Curly. Yes, thank you, Diana. Everybody here tonight, man. Thank you. Can't stress that enough. Thank all of you guys, because without you, there would be no show. So yeah, there you go. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna get off here, and I'll see you guys on the next live, which I'm really not sure when my next live is gonna be. I'm thinking maybe next weekend, Saturday. If I have anything before that, I'll let y'all know in the group, Cryptid and Paranormal group, and on Facebook, as you all know, or some of you might be new. And I'll post it on this channel so y'all can see the notification for it. Okay. All right, guys. Well, thank y'all very much, man, and have a great night. Stay safe. Peace out. Thank you as always. Love from Carlito. Thank you. Peace out. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.